They said, or they remember, or we cannot locate them, try multiple times. Yeah, it's a. Actually, parents can- or parental rights by the location of parents is known, but the parent fails or refuses to participate. Yeah, they may.
Your mic's muted, unless you're the individual talking. Utilizing the raise your hand feature, and we do the raise a hand as well as utilize the Q&A link that is put in the chat. We just put into the chat, so that way if you have questions as we're moving forward, you can we can make sure to address those questions. The PowerPoint slides are also in the chat, and we will also be sending out a follow-up email with all of the documents and things that we talk about today. Okay, Jameen, go to the next slide. So just I'm sorry, we're gonna go start with our updates, and we can go to the next slide because I know that's where the updates start. So really wanted to just lift up these two major things, and the major piece that's on the lookout right now is really us as a county. When I say us as a county, getting all of our LEA implementation plans submitted by the January 31st due date. Okay, so we've had many people already submit. We have I would say maybe about 15 to 20 that we are still of our 59 or 57 LEAs participating. We got about 20 that we are looking to get. Certainly want to make sure everyone knows if you are having any problems, questions, things, concerns about the implementation plan, please reach out to either your point of contact. And if you don't know who your point of contact is, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to the SLP email, and we can get you set up. Certainly want to make sure whatever support you may need in completing and submitting your implementation plan, that we are there to help you do that. Okay. The other piece I wanted to lift up was that as we have been processing the 50% disbursement. So the 50% for the MOUs have been being dispersed. The charters and the ROPs is a different process. So we're processing checks for the ROPs and our charters. The districts do it a different way. So if we haven't received your invoice, if we haven't received your W-9, please make sure we have all that. And my team will be reaching out to some who have not, some of the LEAs who we have not received some documentation from, so that we can make sure to get that to you. Certainly want to get all of this set up for our 50%, because we've reached out to the state about the next 40%, which is attached to the implementation plan. And they said that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. So we want to have everything done on the 50%, so we can duplicate what we do on the 50% for the 40% disbursement. Okay. So again, we are waiting to get the disbursement from the state. And again, I know we've been saying, oh, it's coming. The state's been telling us, oh, next month. We have not got the 40% from the state, so we haven't been dispersing the 40%. And again, the 50% with the holidays and some of the paperwork has been a holdup as well. But we are in the process of processing all of those things. So I did want to lift that up. Next, if you have questions around that, please put it on the question link. So the other thing that we want to talk about is the electronic health record. We have been contacted by various vendors around this work, and I'm sure some of you all have been contacted by vendors around this. Again, it is the intention of the County Office of Education to purchase an electronic health record that people or LEAs who do not have one and have not been utilizing, or they are looking to do something different, we are purchasing one that everyone will be able to utilize, right? It would be your own electronic health record. It would just be purchased from us, right? And so what we want to find out is who are some of the people who are some of the vendors or the EHRs that are already being used in this space, right? So we're going to be sending out a survey to kind of get a pulse of different vendors who are already being used in our county, so that we can begin to speak with some of those vendors. We are going to be going through an RFP process with these vendors, and so we want to make sure to contact some of the vendors that are already being used, so they know that we're doing this RFP and we can get an opportunity to get them to engage. We also are looking to get feedback or make this a very collaborative effort in asking our participating LEAs to be a part of that selection process. So it may not be maybe you all on the call. It might be some of your maybe a therapist from your district, one of your lead therapists or your supervising therapist, one of your therapist supervisors, that could be a part of the process of identifying the EHR that we would be purchasing on behalf of the county. Okay, so just another opportunity to collaborate. We don't want it to just be done just from our office, because again, we don't, from our office, wouldn't be using an EHR, right? So we don't want to purchase it and it be something, and it's something that we think is good, but it's not necessarily aligning, or it doesn't work well with everyone. So we want to make this a very collaborative process. The survey will be shared in our follow-up email. So again, who your vendor is or who your EHR is with. So if you have an EHR, if you have a vendor, some of us might have Paradigm, Practical, all these different third-party administrators that are being used for your billing. So we want to know who those folks are that you are contracting with, as well as what EHR you might be utilizing. And when I say EHR, Veronica, I know you're not feeling well, but just kind of giving an example of different EHR platforms that people to kind of know what I'm talking about.
So electronic health records that will process your Medi-Cal or insurance claims is what we are interested in purchasing. So I think that answers Mario's question. Like James said, we have been contacted by several vendors that have wonderful products, but we really want to make this something that we're doing for our LEAs. So we want to know what you guys are using. I know we've heard about Nexum and Paradigm, Practical, Care Solace is working on a product. So we want to know what you guys are using so that they can be included in the RFP process.
And so, and Mario, so as you said, will we cover the cost? That's going to be part of the RFP, right? That's what we're trying to get a better understanding of. So we did, again, as the county, San Bernardino received $24 million. Part of the money that we sent out, 80% of that $24 million is going to the participating LEAs. 20% of that money is here, but 10% of it is towards collective impact. So it's really very similar to the way you guys have to do your implementation plan. In that 10%, part of that 10%, we've seen the EHR as being a part of that. So we put some money to the side to support in purchase. So how, for instance, Care Solace, Healthy Campus, these are people who we've talked to. The way that they would build their contract would determine how we do that. Mario, for that answer. Okay. Yeah. And again, that's the other piece, right? So I'm looking at some of the chat, right, where we're saying they charge per transaction, right? They charge. So those are the things that we have to vet, because many of them, and that's why we're asking people to really be slow to jump into some of these contracts with some of these people, because there's a lot of money to be made, not so much on the EHR platform, but really on that percentage of the Medi-Cal of the claims, the percentage of the claims, right? And so that's where we want to be very strategic, and we want to bring in folks to be part of that conversation as we're going through that process. Okay, so if you would very kindly fill out that survey so that we can get a better picture of where we are. We're taking this step because we know that we have some districts who are much more ahead than other LEAs, right? So we were thinking about some of our districts who are already in the cohorts, right? We were thinking about Redlands, and we're thinking about Rialto, Upland, you guys are in one, San Bernardino. So we have some very sophisticated LEAs, and then on the back end we have some LEAs who don't even know what electronic health record is. And so we want to make sure that we are helping everyone get to the position of self-sustainability right around this work, right? And so again, we talked about this early on in this process, the importance of all of us really looking to lift up our whole county. Of course, we have our own districts and our own communities that we are supporting, but really looking at the bigger thing of making sure that all of our kids in our county, all the kids in our counties have access to the services that that we see fit as a county they deserve, right? And so really not just making it, oh, well, we're good, so we're not necessarily engaging. Certainly need those people who have some foresight and have some experience to really be a part of that conversation for us. Okay. And then, like I said, even yes, Kara, looking at where we have some districts who are doing their billing inside, right? And so really finding out those best practices so that we can help other districts or LEAs really get to the point of funding and sustainability is really what we want to do. So really lean in on that survey if you have something to add or some experiential that you can add to it. And like I said, if you have questions or some concerns, let's put it in the chat. Not in the chat so much, put it in the question link, and then we can have a deeper discussion. Jermaine, go to the next slide, please. So also these two slides here, in the part of CYBHI, they have some evidence-based practices that they have put out into the state. Our county office received two of the grant rounds, and we are opening up an opportunity for district therapists to be trained in these two evidence-based practices. So again, this more to come on the process of it, but we want to create an interest list. If you guys have at least associate level therapists, so these therapists would have to be have a BBS number to be involved, but they can get trained in CBITS. And as you can kind of see the description of the CBITS training, so adding just more tools to their toolkit, right? And I can see that bottom here. So the master level, doctor level, right? And then the next one, go to the next. So you got a CBITS, and then we also have RAP A. So this can be for your paraprofessionals. This can also be for some of your therapists. So again, these evidence-based practices are some of the evidence-based practices that the state allowed grantees to adopt and train people within their county. And we received 2 of the grants. And so we wanted to make sure to make this available to our district therapists as well. Okay. So there is the interest list was just put into the chat. If you have therapists that you see fit, or again, some of your associates, these young people who are new to the profession, who don't get an opportunity to do a lot of these trainings, this would be at free of charge for them to get this training and this capacity built in them. Okay, so certainly you want to get an interest on that.
So as long as they're
Go ahead.
providing direct service, because it will be a pre-test and post-test that comes with this, those are the staff that we want to target. Individuals
Mhm.
providing direct service that can, carry out the curriculum with some of their students, small groups, individuals, families.
Thank you, Rachel.
James, do you on that interest form, do you just want me to put my name in and then you contact me and all the people I want to sign up? Or do you want me to put each individual service provider's name in separately?
So I would say put your name in, Rachel, and then we would do the follow-up and get the names of the folks who you are. Yeah. So that way we can have a centralized person. So because I knew in this space we would have more of the director levels. We would have you guys in this space, and then you guys would be able to get it to your therapists or your supervisors to really get those folks. So if you're Rachel, thank you for that. If you are our contact, then we can get the names of that. We can do the back work on that. Okay, so really, yeah, if we can identify even just districts, right? Like Redlands is interested, Rialto's interested. If we can get that we in your contact, then we know who we got. Okay, I think I seen something else that came in. Oh, Sylvia. Yeah, okay. So again, yeah, we get it on the list and we'll reach out, because I know we have that. This when this came to me, I was like, districts would love this. Like, this is a great opportunity to for our therapists. Again, getting those extra tools, things that we get a lot of experience as therapists and district therapists. We get a lot of experience working with students and things. We don't always get the opportunity to get some of these trainings, especially at no cost. So this would be a great opportunity for those folks.
Sorry, James. One more
Yes.
question. Sorry, on the last one on CBETS,
No.
I know you said license, but then the slide said master's degree. So like our school psychologists who are providing ERM services, are they eligible to attend as well?
Yeah. So Veronica, I'm gonna say yes, but
Yes.
let me check. Veronica, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you.
So basically the CBITs are more for your BBS registered or LCSWs or clinicians. And the RAP training, it seems like it's more tailored towards the paraprofessionals, wellness coaches. But clinicians can participate in both of these EBPs.
And Cammie, your question around, so for this is actually so this is a 2-year deal as well. So this is all with CYBHI. So this would be, we could certainly have more opportunities for folks. So again, like Cammie, you're building your systems and you're building your structures there, and you get some therapists on. Next year we could do this too. So this would be going to 27. Okay.
James,
Yes.
Dr. Sweezy asked, if we have interested folks, do they submit one per person?
Yeah. So again, yeah. Oh yeah. So you got it, Dr. Sweezy. Yes. Yeah. And then Antonio, you were saying, are these trainings intended to be online? So the way we are certainly considering it, like we're looking at that because we know we're gonna have to, we're school people, right? Like we got to go within contract times and all that stuff. So we're still doing some of that research, Antonio. We would like them again. Of course, in person is always best, right? But we know how post COVID, even because we wouldn't be doing these trainings. We would contract with the CBITS folks to do this and these different providers to do this, and they even want to do things in virtually. So again, that might be, once we get this interest list, and maybe we have a bigger meeting with those folks and really get get some deeper understanding of what would be the best way to do it, how we do it. So we got to build it off the interest list. I think my first thing, as I was talking to the coordinator who's on over these grants, that that I wanted to show her that there was going to be interest in this, and districts would be certainly ears would perk up on this opportunity. So yeah, so I wanted to make sure I could show her like, yeah, there's going to be some interest in this. So if we get that interest, then we can start talking about how we do it next. Okay.
I do want to
So,
say
very
with
good question.
CBITS, we do have options for virtual and in person, but for the RAP
Mhm.
training, it's virtual. It's my understanding that these folks are in Europe somewhere,
Mhm.
so that I can tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Jameen, go to the next slide. Again, when we have more questions about it later, certainly be open to it. So this is going to all be sent to you all. Of course, you have access to this in the live binder as well. Just wanted to bring out that deadline because part of it is us getting one of the trainings completed this year, right? Start these trainings, get people trained, especially when we're talking about some of our associates and people who are, they might be working for a year, and they may not be there next school year. Certainly want to get an opportunity to build capacity in some of the folks who are currently doing some of the work in our districts. Okay, and so this February 6th is actually the date of our next meeting, our next office hour meeting. So we would do a final like last chance kind of deal of you guys doing that, of this interest link. Okay. Next slide, Jameen. I think it's really the thing we begin. Oh, so the Wellness Coach Scholarship, Cycle 2. Again, the deadline for the Certified Wellness Coach Scholarship is February 13th. Wellness coaches, as of now, are not reflected on the fee schedule, right? And so in the call with the state last week, they stressed the importance of the wellness coaches not being on the fee schedule due to the state plan amendment, which is a lot of jargon around the federal government saying, yes, it can be put into the Medi-Cal system, right? So it's not the state that says, yes, they can add it. It's really at the federal level, okay? So that's what that SPA deal is. Again, we all see the benefits in the certified wellness coaches, certainly see the benefit of the wellness coaches being utilized and being for some of those reimbursable services on the fee schedule. But as of now, they are not. But there is opportunity for scholarship or grant money to build and to get certified wellness coaches. Okay, so that link, that's a link that can take you to the scholarship application that is due on the 13th. Another thing that we didn't put on here is the deadline for the cohort 4 of the fee schedule, right? Cohort 4. So as of now, I think we had in our county, the state sent us some information. We only had 2 districts who applied thus far. Team, what is the date? What is the final date for that, for the application? If y'all don't have it right now, we can make sure to get it. Let's make sure we have the date.
It's
The final
January
date.
31st. I'll put the link in the chat right now.
Okay. So January 31st, for LEAs who are interested in being in cohort 4, January 31st is the final date for that. So that's the same date as the implementation plan. Okay. Implementation plan first. And then then do your fee schedule one. No, I'm kidding. Certainly want to get more people involved in that because in applying and getting them on the court. And I know it's been slow. Redlands Rialto in cohort 1, that cohort 1 isn't too far ahead, but I think they're gonna start moving a little faster now in the other cohorts. So getting people involved and getting LEAs involved in those cohorts to give you more opportunity towards reimbursing later. Okay. So if you have some systems in place, certainly an opportunity to do that. Next slide, Jameen. And then, yeah, so we'll open it up for questions. Gives us about 33 minutes for questions. any questions around implementation plans, EHRs, just disbursements, whatever things come up. Mudaway, you want to read any of the questions that have come up so far?
I have the questions, Mr. Soward.
Okay,
Okay,
Alex, thank you.
first question is, will we be receiving contract extensions since our current contracts are only through June 2026? And we now have till June 2027 to spend our funds.
Yes, so the contracts that we have sent out and that districts have signed will certainly be amended. We will be doing some amendments to those contracts. What we are really waiting on is getting all of the finalities, the final language and things from the state. So we didn't want to send an amendment to you all, get things amended, and then the state changes something else and we got to get it amended again. And so we are just getting that last information and make sure that we have everything before we actually amend it. So there will be some amendments though.
All right, second question. Is there a timeline for when you anticipate districts being able to have access to the EHR?
So we have an internal process that we are beginning to look at. I think one of the major pieces that can help us with that is really getting a better understanding of where districts are in their own process around the utilization of an EHR. So again, from the county office, we don't necessarily know what LEAs are actually utilizing the EHR, how they're utilizing the EHR. They're using, are people doing therapy, and they're not necessarily keeping it. They're keeping their documentation the way they have to for their as therapists, but are they reimbursing? So we don't know the ins and outs of where our county is. And that's why we really want that survey information to really understand it. So we don't necessarily know a definite when we want to deploy this EHR. It's really going to be dependent upon where we are and what level of training folks are going to need. Or do people, again, there's districts who don't even know what we're talking about when we're talking about EHR. And so it's really going to dictate us understanding from those survey answers where people are going to help us with a little deeper understanding of that. And I don't think we had a due date on that survey, y'all. And I think we need to add, and when I'm talking to the team, we need to add a deadline to that so we can make sure that we get input, but we have a timeline on that as well.
There is
Okay,
a
so more
due
to
date
come.
and it's 2 weeks. So when
Okay,
we send out the link today or tomorrow, it will be by our next office hours that we want it to
Okay.
be
yeah,
done.
okay. So again, what that is going to do is going to really help us identify or kind of tighten up our timeline. Right now we have an internal one, but I think getting this information is going to help us tighten it up, and we can share that in our next office hours. Okay, Alex?
Okay, yeah, there's two more. Is there a date for the training for the DUA and PPA for CYPHI?
So that would be a state question. So that would go with DACS, who's in charge of the fee schedule and all that stuff. So that wouldn't come through capacity grant. It wouldn't be on our level that people would be trained on the DUA and the PPA. That would be with the state. If you have, if you need us to play any kind of interference or pull somebody and get somebody's attention, let us know, and we can get some information for you on that.
Okay,
Do you know what cohort they're in? Because they've started the meetings for cohort 2 and 3. There was one yesterday.
If that person would like to, who asked that question?
I don't know who asked the question, but I can tell you that I know, like, we're still at cohort 1 and we still haven't signed ours. So
I
it's-
asked the question because when I was applying for cohort 4, it said you can do it parallel or they'll offer trainings. And I thought, well, we already have one with one of the companies we're using, right? Practical, but I'll wait then if they're gonna do something different, because everything changes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
No
James?
problem. I know
Oh,
we
sorry.
just continue to struggle and it's something maybe you can talk, it's the third party agreement that we have struggled with as we also, like, we're in agreement with, we use Paradigm. I know, Rialto uses a different system, but, they were fine with the agreement and accepting liability. But Carillon, the state's third party provider, was not. So that, I know that's why both of our districts have still not started or signed any of those things, because there's still liability questions about what happens with there's a data breach on their end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kevin, you were gonna say something? No?
No, I was just responding back to Rachel.
Okay.
I mean, I can say all kinds of stuff, but I don't need anything right now.
Right,
Thank
right,
you.
right. Yeah. So no, that DUA, I think, and oh, Mario, you said you got some feedback. Is there anything you would share with the larger group?
Yeah, so when I shared it with our attorneys, they did a read through of it, and what they did was add a stipulation into it, and I haven't shared it with Caroline yet, and that's what I'm doing this week, of kind of we both take equal responsibility of any data breaches and pieces like that. Our attorney didn't seem to think that the language that was in the original one was super alarming. But just, when I said I wanted to make sure that we had tightened up that piece regarding the liability for data breaches. It really is that both, the language is that both of us will do everything we can to prevent it, and that we would want the third party person to also carry insurance to cover any breaches. So I can share that with you, Rachel, if you want to reach out to me, and maybe we can kind of share thoughts on what your team has kind of given you feedback on. You're muted, Rachel.
We've been working for months on revised language, and thus far Carillon has not made any concessions on any changes. But absolutely it might be beneficial. I know our CBOs, Rialto and Redland CBOs have been working closely on that, so that they kind of, instead of working separately, trying to tackle it together, but thus far there has not been any movement.
Okay, and maybe we should connect Rachel, and then maybe the three of us can go in together. And
Yeah, Mario, if you could include Cecilia and myself as well from Rialto.
yes,
We're
yes.
in it with
Let me
Rachel.
put my email in, guys, and then you guys can email me, and then we'll get us all together.
Yeah.
Does that sound?
That sounds
And
good.
then, just so you know, Mario, there's around 12 other districts in the state that are also working towards that.
Okay.
Yeah, that revised language.
Yeah. And
From
I,
cohort one, which, I mean, there was only like 40 of us in cohort one.
right. Yeah. And this is, again, as and I appreciate the collaboration between the districts, because if we can get the right language through you guys' process, then we can share that language with the other districts who are behind or coming behind you all. So appreciate the collaboration. Yeah, that's gonna be helpful. Mario?
And then as we look at the electronic records and those pieces, I'm sure all of you guys are being bombarded with calls and emails, and everybody wants a piece of this action. And so one of the kind of the strategies that I've implemented is I'm giving people 30 minutes to give me their sales pitch. And then from those 30-minute meetings, I'm going to pick our top 3 that seem to be the most beneficial to us. And then we've kind of got a little matrix that we're using, like what is the overall cost? What's the percentage they're taking? And then I'm going to meet more in depth with our top 3 to 5 to try to figure out what we want. So James, I'd love to be a part of your process as well.
Yeah.
Because if you guys will pay for that. I'm ready to go with it. So.
And so Mario, you actually must have been looking over our shoulder during the test, because your process is very similar to the process that we had, right? So we wanted, and that's why we want to find out who are the different vendors or the different EHRs that our county is already utilizing, so that in the selection process and that this collaborative team that we bring together, that those 30-minute conversations or the 30-minute pitches would be done with that group. So what you're doing with your district, we want to do that from the county level as well. So we want to get more people in the room outside of me, Veronica, and Alex and Marwa and us hearing it, but really get some of you guys to be a part of that conversation. They do that pitch for us, to that committee that we're describing. So Marwa, we actually are right in line with what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, yes, sir. Mr. Jennings, thank you for attending, and we'll be in contact. Alex, the other question? You got
One
another
more
one.
question. So
Mhm.
for the multi-payer fee, are LEAs expected to collect student insurance information regardless of the EHR they contract with?
Yes. So at some point, in order to get reimbursed, there's going to be a certain amount of information that you're going to have to receive from the students. Now, again, how you do that, we are working with our own Department of Behavioral Health. We have managed care plans in our county, which is IHP, Molina, and Kaiser. As well as some of the school districts who participated in SB HIP. We have a behavioral health network that we work from and work in, and we are trying to develop some of those tools and resources that we can provide to districts on getting student information around this. But for some of the districts who have already been in part of the cohorts, in their application, and their processes, they're learning that they're going to have to get certain information to actually reimburse. So to answer your question, the short answer is yes, you're going to need to get student information to utilize the fee schedule. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
I have a question, but I
Cammy?
also have the question form here. Can I just ask
Yeah.
for?
No, Cammy, absolutely.
Okay, I was trying to make sure, but looks like it was my turn. We applied for cohort 4. I hope I'm on your
Mhm.
list because that
Yeah,
was
you are.
Okay.
Shore Valley's on the list.
kind of was like, you know how you do stuff and then you move it, you're done. And then I thought,
Yeah.
shoot, I don't remember getting something back that's saying, so good stuff. That's it. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you're on the list. You're one of the 2 districts. Yeah. Thank you, Cam, for checking on that.
All right, there's
Any
one,
other questions? Oh,
one
I'm
more
sorry, Alex,
question.
go ahead.
That's okay.
Mhm.
Who will be completing the progress report for the capacity grant?
Who will be completing the progress report? So each LEA will do their own progress report. And again, the progress report date is not till July of 25. And I hope I'm saying that date right, y'all. 25, right? July 25?
Yes, July
Veronica?
31st, 2025 is when
Ye-
the LEA's first progress report is due.
Yeah, so each LEA would do their own progress report. Now, the county office has a progress report, and ours is due January 31st. And so we will be submitting ours this upcoming week for on behalf of the county. And when I say on behalf of the county, it's the work that we've done thus far, getting our MOUs, getting it in contract with our participating LEAs, dispersing the money, having office hours, having community of practice opportunities. So those are the things that we would be updating them on the progress thus far for our county version of the progress report. But in July, each LEA would do their own progress report, and that template or whatever the state would be utilizing, we would make sure that you guys have that and support you guys in filling that out if there's a need for that as well. So that's to come in July. Like I said, the biggest thing right now is we want to get those implementation plans submitted so that we can San Bernardino County can be off of the state's list as far as like we got all our we in line, because right now the state is, they keep talking, oh, San Bernardino's doing so good. We've been doing great, y'all. Like our county's doing good. We in line with everything. They want us to show with some of the things that we're doing. So I just want to keep that momentum in that we are kind of being that overachiever group, right? So our folks, so getting those implementation plans are going to be key for us to stay the course on that. But that progress report, that's about 7 months away. Okay.
I do want to add,
Mhm.
I'm always adding now, James. Um,
Y'all good.
when you think about your implementation plan and some of your deliverables, just know that when you update your progress report, number one, you're gonna have to address all of the things that you're saying that you're gonna spend the money on. We know that some of these positions that some of you have indicated that you want to hire for, those can still be pending, based on um, you know, being in a cohort or something like that. But just know everything that you're putting in your implementation plan will have to be addressed.
Mhm. And that's why, as you're filling out these implementation plans, really being practical in the way that you approach it, all right, and not necessarily reaching for the stars and things that you might want to do, but again, the implementation of that is going to be the key, right? And if you add something and you want to take it off, the progress report would be a time to do that. But again, just on the preventative side, really, what is the practicality of what you are trying to implement? Because they have so many things that you can fill out, but you don't have to fill out everything. You fill out what you want to accomplish in these next 2 years and how you want to spend that money. Okay. Alex,
Okay,
any other things?
one last question. For
Okay.
for the capacity grant, is there flexibility to adjust the budget and plan throughout the grant period as we implement our plan? For example, if I budget for service delivery infrastructure, but then find a bigger need for Medi-Cal billing, can I make those adjustments?
Yes. So those adjustments can be made in your progress report. So yes, you can absolutely adjust what you're doing in the progress report. What I would I don't want to say caution, but what I would ask is, as you're making, if you're pivoting and like you're making a huge pivot, I would encourage you to talk to us from the county office just to make sure that it aligns. If we need to ask some questions, we can ask some questions on your behalf, just so that way it keeps you straight. So if there is, you're going to make a huge pivot, don't hesitate to reach out to us, run it by us, talk it through it with us so that we can make sure that we can advocate on your behalf on that as well. So we don't want it to get to the progress report and then find out that we should have did something before. Okay, so that would just be the encouragement to reach out to us if it's going to be a huge pivot.
And I was just second that as well, James, because we made a huge pivot on our SB HIP, and it's like 2 years later came back and had to explain that and show that we actually had communications with the managed care plans and that it was actually approved.
Right. Yeah. So it's really that, and again, Rialto, they were a part of SB HIP, which was all a part of CYBHI, all the same thing coming out of DHCS, same folks, same. So again, because of our experience and what the work we've done through SB HIP and some of these other CYBHI grants, just learning from what we already know. So absolutely, just encourage you to, if you want to do a strong pivot, let's talk and make sure we have it documented. And we looked out for you before. But certainly you have the carte blanche. You have the carte blanche to do that. We can do that, and the progress report is your opportunity to document that. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. So again, we are going to be sending out all of these different surveys and interest lists. Certainly want to get you all to engage in those things. We want to get your feedback on the survey, and we certainly want to help get our people, these therapists who are supporting our kids, let's get them more training. Let's get that in. Let's get people, just better. Continue to get them better and get them build more capacity in our county. So if there are no other questions, we certainly won't hold you anymore. We'll stay on if people need to touch base with us. So we'll stay on. But other than that, thank you guys for your time. Appreciate you guys coming in and the conversation. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you all.
Thank you. You do the same.
Yes.